MA Education, MES 101, that is higher education, its context and linkages, and the first assignment, that is the aim of education are not fixed, they keep changing. Discuss the factors responsible for the changes in the aims of higher education. For this, the probable answers could be in this way. The education system in India has seen rapid changes in the last decade, although it's never been static. It kept on changing with time, but the current scenario easily reflects the visible change, which clearly proves that the aims of education are not fixed and they keep changing. The emergence of blended learning, online classes, experiential learning has changed how students are interacting with educational content. There has been a dramatic shift in the education system as a whole, and now online education and blended classes have become a norm in all the levels of education. These changes have had such impact in the education system in India that New Education Policy 2020 has made specific policy inputs to make online education a part of all education effort in the country. Some of the major changes in our era which are clearly invisible in education system are as follows. Like chalkboards replaced by smart screen. These are technology-driven smart boards wherein all the lectures, formulae and concept is holistically described and available to download anytime. The intelligent class has contributed a significant chunk in attracting students, followed by decrease in dropout rates. Second is online classes. Started with the adoption of technology by private sector, the importance of online education took dramatic turn during the COVID-19 lockdown, and now it has become the main part of education. Third is free availability of content, like various YouTube channels and internet facility through Google has highly enriched the system. Fourth is short-term skill-based online courses. This is again a significant change where top educational institutes are using online media. Also, the market is recognizing these skills and helping students. Next is experiential and project-based learning. This is now becoming an important and mandatory part of curriculum. Next is use of machine learning and artificial learning. Adoption of artificial learning and machine learning has led to personalization of test preparation with specific inputs to improve the learning outcome. As every educational system has factors or features that influence, determine and shape the system, the character of educational system is not determined by a single factor, rather, it depends on a combination of several factors. Learning is not always as simple as going to school. There are many factors that affect education and are responsible for the change within the educational system. Major ones are economy, career or job, diversity, cultural differences, teachers, students' zeal and education, family. Second assignment. What are the important imperatives of quality in higher education? Discuss how quality can be brought about in teaching learning process. The answer to this question could be in this way. It is now clearly realized that the economic success of the states is directly determined by the quality of their educational systems, and that the most effective factor of production is human capital expressed in knowledge, skills, creative abilities, and moral qualities of individuals in society. In the past decades, higher education institutions have been buffeted by a complex set of pressures all over across the globe. Foremost among them is the growing importance of knowledge-led economies that have placed higher education at the center of national competitiveness agendas. Higher education institutions are increasingly viewed as economic engines by policymakers and are seen as essential for ensuring knowledge production through research and innovation and the continuous education of the workforce. Quality improvement and sustenance have become the key areas emphasis of the modern times. Higher education suffers from the paradoxes of ill efficiency, mismanagement, and lower productivity on account of lack of adherence to quality standards. In order to build a competitive nation in this era of globalization, a sincere effort in the direction of sustaining quality is required. Quality implies differences in value in comparison to the common. Something having quality is perceived to be less accessible than an alternative of the same entity that lacks quality. Thus, quality means having numerous versions of the same thing organized in a hierarchical pattern indicating the presence of relative values. Higher education aims to conserve, spread, and upgrade knowledge. Therefore, in order to sustain in the fiercely competitive world, enhancement of quality and standard of Indian higher education institutions becomes indispensable. The long-term objective of the national policy on education formulated in 1968 was quality enhancement and increase in the numbers of students coming out of the school and colleges. To accentuate this need of quality standards in higher education, the Government of India in August 1985, with the Ministry of Education's document, that is Challenge of Education, a Policy Perspective, launched a campaign for quality in education. NPE was framed to effectively meet the challenges occurring due to ongoing revolution in science and technology, for maintaining the quality in educational institutes and enriching the teaching-learning process. Following methods could be adopted. First, meet the students' requirements on time. Second, strive to do error-free work. Third, manage by prevention, not by correction. Fourth, measure the cost of quality. Fifth, committing to a quality-focused system. Sixth, identifying student satisfaction as the key indicator of quality services. And seventh, showing reception for novel strategies for upbringing a gradual and enduring advancement of learning outcome.
Alright.
IMAS 101. The third assignment is, how is the phenomena of globalization impacting Indian higher education? Discuss with examples. So just an idea here is, as a result of globalization, higher education is becoming a marketable commodity and has emerged as a multi-billion-dollar business. The increasing need to set up a chain of educational institutions which are accredited, globally acceptable, has led to gradual privatization of higher education. The higher education structure in India has served as both an agent and object of the globalization and the impact of globalization on it are immense and diverse. It has not only underlined the need for higher education reforms but also wider utilization of IT and emphasis on research and development and investment in development of human capital. The global competitiveness, rapid changes, lifelong learning, and flexible routes of learning have their implications over teachers' training also. Globalization has underlined the need to take steps to qualitative expansion, value-based competency, and ICT-based teaching learning. People with disability get benefit from globalization only if they are endowed with knowledge, skills, capabilities, and rights needed to pursue their basic livelihoods. The introduction of technology into the classroom is changing the nature of delivering education to students. It is gradually giving way to a new form of electronic literacy. More programs and education materials are made available in electronic form. Teachers are preparing materials in electronic form. Students are generating papers, assignments, and projects in electronic form. Video projection screens, books with storage device servers, and CD-ROMs, as well as the emergence of online digital libraries are now in use. Exams and grades are also gradually becoming available through electronic means, and notebooks are giving way to laptops. Also, students can be examined through computer-managed learning system and do tutorial exercises on a computer rather than a classroom. So, higher education has become a huge enterprise, and worldwide tens of millions of students are getting enrolled in more than 15,000 public institutions and a growing number of private institutions. So the global IT paradigm, the survival of the fittest paradigm, plays an important role in the ideas on how higher education will be delivered in the coming decades, and specifically the key role expected for IT and distance education. Let us see MES 102, that is Instruction in Higher Education, and here the first assignment, that is describe with examples how you will use emerging information and communication technologies to make your classroom teaching effective. So the answer could be probably in this way. Do not copy. It's a kind of it's genuine answer from my side. So just take an idea and try to write in your own words. So ICT, that is Information Communication Technology, can enhance the quality of education in several ways, like by increasing learner motivation and engagement, by facilitating the acquisition of basic skills, and by enhancing teachers' training also. ICT is an information tool which, when used appropriately, can promote the shift to a learner-centered environment. So, no doubt that ICT has the potential for increasing access to and improving the relevance and quality of education. It is a powerful tool for extending educational opportunities, both formal and non-formal, even to the undeserved constituencies, scattered and rural populations, groups traditionally excluded from education due to cultural or social reasons, such as ethnic minorities, girls and women, persons with disabilities, and the elderly, as well as all others who, for reasons of cost or time constraints, don't enroll. ICTs such as videos, television, and multimedia computer software that combine text, sound, and colorful, moving images can be used to provide challenging and authentic content that will engage the student in the learning process. Networked computers with internet connectivity can increase learner motivation, as it combines the media richness and interactivity of other ICTs, that is Information Communication Technologies. The transmission of basic skills and concepts are foundation of higher order thinking skills, and creativity can be facilitated by ICTs through drill and practice. ICTs has also been used to improve access to and the quality of teacher training. ICT enhanced learning mobilizes tools for examination, calculation, and analysis of information, thus providing a platform for student inquiry, analysis, and construction of new information. ICT supported teaching encourages interaction and cooperation among students, teachers, and experts regardless of where they are. This 102, the second assignment is compare grading system with marking system. Which of the two systems you would recommend for higher education system and why? So the answer could be probably in this way. When it comes to grading, each grade is indicative of the percentage bracket under which the student's result falls. With marks, a student knows exactly where he or she falls. Although grading is a little vague, still it reduces the pressure a child undergoes when dealing with results. The marking system encompasses all the technologies, both hardware and software, used for marking. These include, among other things, marking devices such as label printers or label dispensers. The grading system is better than the marking system. Securing good grades makes children feel better and it motivates them. A healthy mind is necessary for a healthy competition. Grading system initially helped students in scoring well, but when marking system began, it was considered the best. But unfortunately, it led to stress among students for every mark they scored. Therefore, the grading system appeared as a better option than the marking system. Securing good grades makes children feel better and it motivates them. The grading system is in more use nowadays and must be encouraged anyhow. In marking system, students run behind each and every mark, and in this race they forget learning and they aim only at scoring. Grading system does not disappoint students. If we look marking system, it is better when the students value their marks and work even harder. In fact, those who score 100 are not counted the same as others, and those who score a little less than them are motivated to score even better. So this topic is extremely full of contradictions actually. So some amount of competition is always necessary among students. It is healthy for a student to deal. So however, with the grading system, there is hardly any sense of competition among the students, and those who work hard might sometimes end up with the same grades, offering no incentives to the students. A grade is the overall level of achievement for a course, usually determined by combining the marks of the individual assessment items that make up the course. Therefore, analyzing all the above points and examples, we can better reach to the conclusion that grading system would be a better option for higher education. Over the course of an academic career, an average student will be exposed to a variety of grading systems and procedures. Most familiar of these involves the letter A, where A is usually given a value of 4 and is characterized in words as outstanding or excellent. And letter E is given a value of 0 and is described as unsatisfactory or failing. The grades of A through F are usually derived from some more differentiated quantitative values such as scores, in which the specific nature of relationships between grade and test score may take a variety of different forms. Variations in the breadth of grading system would seem to have significant educational implications. Therefore, it is clear that the communicative power of grading is ordinarily submerged in their more ordinary use as a means of rating and sorting students for social and institutional purposes. So only when grades are integrated into a coherent teaching and learning strategy, they serve the purpose of providing useful and meaningful feedback. Moving on to MES 102 assignment. Third assignment is select a topic of your choice from college level and develop 10 frames of program learning material following linear style. Describe the stages you have followed in the development of PLM. So here the answer could be probably in your own choice. Suppose I'm selecting this topic like factors responsible for low learning output of higher education students, right? So as in linear programming, firstly we need to select the topic that we did, and this in itself is the first frame, right? Actually in linear programming, what happens, the teacher is splitting the entire content in certain small segments called as frames. And these frames need to be solved and attempted by the student itself. After every frame, they get the chance to reach to the next frame automatically if the first frame is answered correctly. Moreover, the correct answer is also available. Therefore, the students to check their own performance, and if it is ought to first prepare and then attempt again the current frame and then move on to the further. You need to take care about some steps like content outline, right? Nextly, you need to take care of the institute's instructional objectives, okay, and also brief up the entry skill, present the materials required for clear understanding of the topic, and then ensure students' participation in the test. Nextly, provide stimulus for the students' response, then proceed ahead, and then gradually moving on to the sequential frames. You need to provide them a stimulus so that they provide the students provide in response the great satisfactory answer so that they could understand the topic, and in this way you can complete your frame in a linear way. MS 103, that is higher education, the psychosocial context, and the first assignment is describe the college related concerns of higher education students and discuss the role of teacher as a counselor. So the answer could be probably in this way. After more than 70 years of independence, India's higher education system has still not been developed fully. We know it is evidenced by its poor performance in institutional rankings that not a single Indian university in top 100 universities of the world is lying in. The poor employment status of its students, poor track record in receiving national awards and recognition, poor share in research funding, and so on could be the responsible factors which are depicting the reality. Moreover, the status of the state public universities that produce over 90% of the graduate in India is more dismal. And some of the major concerns related to Royal College of Higher Education are like enrollment, inequality, political interference, poor infrastructure and facilities, inadequate research, poor governance structure, so and so on. So we can say like enrollment, we know according to All India Survey on Higher Education Report 2018-19, the gross enrollment ratio in higher education in India is only 26.3%, which is quite low as compared to the developed countries. And if we talk about quality, then ensuring quality in higher education is amongst the foremost challenges being faced in India today. Political interference, like increasing interferences of politicians in the management of higher education. It jeopardizes the autonomy of higher education institutes, and also students organize campaigns, forget their own objectives and begin to develop their careers in politics. If we talk about poor infrastructure and facilities, then we know that the system of India, particularly the institutes run by public sectors, suffer more. So faculty shortages and the inability of the state education system to attract and retain well qualified teachers, it is a big task, it is a big deal. Then if we talk about inadequate research, then there are insufficient resources and facilities as well as limited numbers of quality faculty to advise students. Poor governance structure, we know that management of Indian education, it is facing the challenges of over-centralization, bureaucratic structures, and lack of accountability, transparency, and professionalism. So as a result of increase in the number of affiliated colleges and students, the burden of administrative functions of universities has significantly increased, and the core focus on academics and research is diluted. So taking the responsibility for a relationship role in reaching gives teacher as a counselor a new importance, and the historic nature of this role can be traced at least as far as Socrates in Hindi. So repeatedly in the writings of Plato, we can see that Socrates involved in assisting his students and followers in the counseling posture, and the teacher as a counselor is a powerful role. It has been difficult for many teachers to assume as such, as hardly any training is given in this field. And teacher as counselor can provide a safe, secure and nurturing climate in which the child can grow as a healthy and whole individual. So teachers as a counselor helps to create goals to facilitate improvement or change and encourage the students to succeed. And the power base for counseling role comes primarily from personal power and involves the empowerment. MS 103, second assignment, discuss with examples various factors that affect students learning at higher education level. So these factors can be as follows: intellectual factors, learning factors, physical factors, mental factors, emotional and social factors, teacher's personality, environmental factor, institutional factor, and socio-economic factor. So I'm just giving you a glimpse of all these factors, and you need to extend it according to your own opinion and in your own words. So intellectual factors, we know success in higher education is generally closely related to the level of intelligence, or we can say your intellect. Students with low intelligence often encounter serious difficulty in mastering schoolwork, we know. We talk about learning factors and factors owing to lack of mastery of what has been taught, faulty methods of work or study, and narrowness of experimental background may affect the learning process of any student. We talk about physical factors, then it includes factors such as health, physical development, nutrition, visual and physical defects, and glandular abnormality. We talk about mental factors, then the efficiency of the work from day to day and the rapidity with which it is achieved are influenced by attitude of the learner. Moving on to emotional and social factors, then we know that personal factors such as instincts and emotions and social factors as cooperation and rivalry are directly related to the complex psychology of motivation. Like a student may have developed a dislike for some subject because he may fail to see its value or may lack foundation, so this dislike results in flop result. We talk about teachers' personality, and teachers as an individual personality is an important element in the learning environment and in failure and success of the learner. Like in supreme value of a teacher is not in the regular performance of routine duties but in his power to lead and to inspire his students through the influence of his moral personality. If we talk about environmental factors, then one of the most important factors it is, and it affects the efficiency of learning. And in institutional factors, program variety is one factor that influences higher education. Like some institutions choose to focus on specific career paths, this influences the level of individualized attention the students receive. If we talk about socio-economic factors, then the social and economic factors play a role in almost everything, and every year there is a list released of top colleges and universities. Of course, every institution of higher learning wants to be in that list, but results are contrary, we know. So while all these things can centrally lead to a better quality of higher education if paid attention and worked on time. MES 103, let us see the third assignment. The question is, what are the basic features of a classroom environment? Go through the 12 statements pertaining to classroom management profile given in Unit 6, that is, dynamics of classroom management and their implications for practice. Write your response to each statement on a 5-point scale. Analyze your response using the scoring instructions given in the unit. Based on the analysis, write a brief report highlighting the strength and weakness of your classroom management profile. So see, we all know that classrooms are this multi-dimensional universe in one way, right? So this you can elaborate in your own words, and we know that the classroom, it is a very good atmosphere in itself, where the students are crowded, teachers, tasks, and too many pressures are existing, and consisting of many individuals with different goals, different abilities, different preferences. So the challenges in the classroom are abounding and need to be planned and addressed meaningfully. So for this, it's a good exercise. Here we can see the 12 statements pertaining to classroom management profile given in Unit 6, but before to it, let us see some basic features of classroom environment. It could be in this way, like student must feel safe, students should be respected, then their input must be taken into account, they should be pushed to achieve, and all the students should be treated equally, different forms of success should be welcomed, positive rapport in classroom should be maintained. And despite this, the very basic feature and the most important features, we can say it is the physical climate and the classroom culture. So you can discuss these 2 points in your words, and if you want to know about the 12 points which are mentioned in Unit 6, so it is, let me tell you, For this you need to mention your own scoring according to your own liking, like 5 scores are mentioned here, like strongly agree, then second is agree, third is neutral, fourth is disagree, and fifth is strongly disagree. Okay, contrary also you can understand it, like strongly disagree is first, or then disagree second, third is neutral, fourth is agree, fifth is strongly agree. This way your scoring you can make according to your own choice. Now for this, what is there, like 12 statements are there in this way. First is, if a student is disruptive during the class, and I ask him or her to leave my class without further discussion. For this you need to give your opinion. Do you agree, or do you agree strongly, or otherwise you don't agree, or you don't agree strongly, or otherwise you are neutral. You have no response, you have no opinion for this statement. So accordingly you keep on mentioning your own marking in a piece of paper. Okay. Second statement is, I don't want to impose any rules on my students. Third is, the classroom must be quiet in order for students to learn. Fourth is, I am concerned about what my students learn and how they learn. Fifth is, if a student turns in a late assignment, it is not my problem. Sixth is, I don't want to reprimand a student because it might hurt his or her feelings. Seventh is, class preparation is not worth the effort. Eighth is, I always try to explain the reason behind my rules and discussions. Ninth is, I will not accept excuses from a student who is tardy. 10th is, the emotional well-being of my students is more important than classroom control. 11th is, my students understand that they can interrupt any lecture if they have a relevant question. 12th is, if a student requests an outpass, I always honor the request. So for all these 12 statements separately you give your opinion. Okay, opinion that is based on your this 5 scoring level only. That is first is strongly agree, then second agree, then third is neutral, then fourth is disagree, and fifth is strongly disagree. Accordingly you mention your own remark according to your own experiences, or otherwise your own imagination. Okay, and then this scoring you can do in this way. We have 4 categories for that. 4 categories are authoritarian style, second is authoritative style, third is laissez-faire style, and fourth is indifferent style. So for this authoritarian style, which all statements fall are, it is first, third and ninth statement. Just point it down. First, third and ninth statement. Better you go back to the screen, and wherever this points I have highlighted, just take a screenshot from there and then point out the statements accordingly. First, third and ninth statement falls under the category of authoritarian style. Then 4th, 8th and 11th, these 3 statements fall under authoritative style. Then 6th, 10th and 12th, these 3 statements fall under the laissez-faire style. And then 2nd, 5th and 7th, these 3 fall under indifferent style. So for what is this authoritarian, authoritative, laissez-faire and indifferent style, I'll make a separate video for you, okay, so that you will understand about it. So but it is that in a very simple gist, if I say, if you are accepting the things in a very democratic way and things must be in a discipline also, then it is authoritative. Okay, if you are accepting the things in a lovingly way, but discipline is not that much in your consideration, that is laissez-faire style. If you want everything under your control, if you want everything to be done according to your commands and rules, okay, you want to suppress the things, you want to keep the things under your investigation in a very strict manner, then it is authoritarian style. And if you just wherever it is totally neutral, okay, or otherwise if it is like when you say ki You are just depicting such kind of statements where no responsibility or no concern is reflected, then it is kind of indifferent style. Okay? Then whatever scoring is there, okay, so just add up your marks according to the 5 level of scores, and then 5 point scale जो है 5 point scale, according to that we just add up your score, and whichever score is the maximum, that will be your style. Okay, so now based on that only you have to make one report also. For one page you can mention your report. Suppose it is authoritative style, or it is authoritarian, laissez-faire, whatever you feel, in whichever point category you have received the maximum score, accordingly you need to make your report. That in that, when you are maintaining your class decorum, class command in that style, what things you are observing in the classroom, in the behavior and in the performance and in the improvement of the students, whether they are literally improving or they are getting degraded, they are getting disciplined, or they are getting totally disturbed, or they are becoming good personality, a civilized person, or they are becoming an antisocial. Whatever things you are observing, accordingly you can differentiate those things in the strength and the weakness of the classroom. Now let us move to MS 104, that is planning and management of higher education. And the first assignment is explain the meaning and features of organization development. Suggest organization development intervention for self-renewal of higher education. So you can solve this assignment in this way probably. Organization development is defined as a systematic approach to boost the effectiveness of an individual as well as a business entity. It is planned and designed to solve relevant issues that harm the operational efficiency in organization. Organizational development is also known as OD, and it is considered as an ongoing process of implementing change in an organization. It is achieved by aligning beliefs, attitudes, and values of the employees in a company through the reinforcement of training program. Fundamental concepts of OD, this organizational development, includes team building, career development, training, coaching, change management, innovation, e-learning, organizational assessments, talent management, and leadership development. So the core value of any organization development is increasing the effectiveness in terms of goals, offering viable opportunities to organization, creating a challenging and exciting work environment. And we know that basic features of organization development are like action resource, system approach, problem solving, group processes, feedback, and learning through experiences. So now organization development interventions for self-renewal of higher education institutions can be as follows. So first is preparation, second is respect. Preparation of what? Every single task from the daily routine of educational institute need advanced preparation in order to meet the expectations level and time frame, to ensure that the real roadmap of task or session which is to be delivered is chalked in advance as to deliver the program on time as well as without hassle. Now respect, second. So mutual respect should always be there for each other. So that is respect for organization, its ongoing policies, for employees, for mentors or consultants, and respect must be paid for the mutual relationship also. Third is implementation. So how to prepare or make ready the motive of educational institutes, establishment and impairing and imparting of higher education successfully. Actually it depends all on implementation. So ultimately what matters is the execution. Next is sharing. Sharing is one of the unique and mandatory activity, and it is to boost the target students and lay emphasis that the learning from session should be shared with other people of organization who are not the part of the session. And the last is maintaining. Maintaining what? One can be prepared well, learn well, shared well, but until and unless the changes that was brought due to session is not maintained, the entire effort becomes meaningless. So, the maintenance of the learning or outcome of organizational intervention is important.
Alright.
Now, if we talk about MAS 104, second assignment is what is meant by communication. Explain how a teacher in higher education can make his or her communication effective. So we can write this assignment probably in this way, that communication is the act of sharing and receiving information through a variety of media to various individuals. Communication is the sending and receiving of information and can be one-on-one or between groups of people and can be face-to-face or through communication devices. It requires a sender, the person who initiates communication, to transfer their thoughts or encode a message. And this message is sent to the receiver, a person who receives the message, and finally the receiver must decode or interpret the message. Effective communication requires a shared language and understanding of common concepts. General types of communication include verbal, non-verbal, visual, written, and active listening. Now, the ways through which teachers can improve their communication skills are as follows. First is be consistent. Like, if the teachers are not communicating consistently, then how will people trust that they are receiving the right information at the right time? Second is reach out more often. A vast majority of students surveyed and said that they want their college to communicate with them the same amount or more through email, personalized communication, and reminders or alerts. Third is make it personal. So more the personalization paid to the students, more will be the chances of improving existing communication. Achieving this requires knowing your audience to greatest possible degree. Fourth is building trusted relationships. So trusted relationship can be built up between the students studying in current year and their alumni through email, feedback, and timely conferences. Fifth is building connection. Teachers can improve their communication skills by building connection, since networking is essential to secure a job post-graduation students need in similar fields. Sixth is make it rewarding. Like, organizing the programs for alumni in terms of rewarding also provides the occasion and opportunities of communicating and achieving the skills. And the next is teamwork. So doing more teamwork activities and group work, a great way to enhance the communication skills. So teamwork and collaboration are skills that are transferable. Next is body language. So communication is not only verbal but also non-verbal, and while trying to learn for communication skills, we must ensure that the signals that we are giving out through our body language are positive, confident, and engaging. Next is active listening. So listening component of communication should not be overlooked. By listening, also both teachers and students learn a lot, and various communication skills develop automatically, not only by speaking but by listening also. And the last is feedback. So it is a very important component of communication in classroom. So getting proper feedback helps teachers to realize their mistake and work in that direction. Let us see the last assignment of MAEDU, that is MAS 104. Last assignment. Third is identify a content from the subject of your choice at higher education level and describe the various components that you would consider while preparing an instructional strategy for transacting the same content in the classroom. So here we are supposed to select any of the topic of your choice from higher education level. Okay, it could be any of your favorite title, and regarding that you then need to extend few points, like what are the components which you need to mention for that topic based on the instructional strategy. For this, first is gaining attention, second is informing the learner of objectives, third is stimulating the recall of the prior learning, Fourth is presenting the stimulus material. Fifth is providing learning guidance. Sixth is eliciting the performance. Seventh is providing feedback about performance correctness. And eighth is assessing the performance. So, imparting your lecture on your topic is very relevant to take care of the above components of instructional strategy. And of these above mentioned components, the most important ones are learning objectives, learning activities, and assessments. So these three are popularly termed as the magic triangle because of its effectiveness and results and implication, right? So accordingly, you go on extending the things as per the, because before moving ahead and expecting the positive results from your student side, it becomes important firstly to bring their attention towards what they are going to study today. It is very wise to connect your students with something they have previously heard or knew about that topic. So of course the topic or that word might have some sort of connection with their memory or their knowledge. It becomes very relevant to depict the learners about the reason and the objectives of the topic as to why you took that topic for them to teach it. And then you can present a model of that particular topic, any sort of chart or any sort of sample showing the part of that thing in a structural or functional way. Okay, so it would act as a kind of stimulus material for them, which would help them to give them proper response. And then to present the learning guidance, you should share with them some tips and tricks to understand and learn all those basic types and parts of that model and how it's functioning, so that you need to, and nextly you need to elicit their performance. Means you should try to extract the information from them only about their understanding of the topic and also their interest towards the topic. And then you can provide your students the feedback on their understanding, and this will help them to make certain modifications in their own way. And then finally you can assess the entire performance, which is actually the most important part. Alright.